Hey everyone, it's Kai from Kool Collectibles, back again for another review. This time it's the Hot Toys MMS324 First Order TIE Pilot from The Force Awakens. And again, I got this from the local distributor here in Australia called Pop Culture Superstore. I normally get my stuff from Sideshow directly in the US, but with the exchange rate and some of the discounts we can get through their penny system, it was cheaper for me to get this through Pop Culture. Now for some reason, the Snowtrooper, I think, was released in Hong Kong after the TIE Pilot, but this TIE Pilot was only just received here in Australia, and I'm not sure if Sideshow have also started shipping theirs. But I am glad to finally get it, as I slowly build up my Force Awakens collection with Kylo Ren, the Stormtrooper squad leader, and the Snowtrooper officer. So this guy does look pretty damn cool. He doesn't come with much, as you can see, but the box art that you can see back there is their standard style, and I do like their cover inserts. So you can see the Death Star thingy at the back there, and the pictures of the troopers. Does look pretty damn good. So that's pretty much standard fare for these Hot Toys figures. With the accessories, pretty much the only accessory is his little pistol, which is very, very nicely done for something so fairly simplistic. The paint application, it's got a nice dark glossy paint app to it, with some of that silver and sort of red detailing to it. So fairly nicely done, and it looks very similar to the I guess the classic pistol from the original TIE Pilot, which I'll show you guys in a second. Other than that, he comes with just an array of hands. I'll just get him out of the way. He comes with an array of hands here, and they are all sort of nicely molded. So they're in that sort of gloved style. So you can see the glove detail there. Nothing too fancy. There is a bit of a strap at the bottom there, but that's just a molded plastic strap there. Nothing fabric or anything like that. So you get the pistol holding hands, a couple of fisted hands and so on. So I'm not sure, I'll probably have him holding the pistol, because that's pretty much the only accessory he's got. It does fit in fairly easily through there, and just put the finger in there. I haven't swapped them around yet, but it looks fairly straightforward, so nothing major there. But I'll give you guys a closer look at the figure. Alright, so here is the figure itself. So overall, it does look pretty damn good. I'll give you guys a bit of a close-up on some of the detail here. So the helmet is really, really nice. It's a nice glossy paint application, so I can't complain too much about that. And I do like some of these silver details on, I'm not sure what this pin thing is that's sticking out the side of his head. There's little hooks here on the sides as well, and the sort of silver details on the breathing apparatus down there. I'm not sure why this top section here is more of a matte color. I'm not even sure if that's intended to, like some sort of visor that folds down in front of his lenses there, but it doesn't move or anything, and it's more of a matte paint application than the rest of the helmet, so I'm not sure about that. The lens themselves, I can't see any sort of translucency in there. I did try to shine a light through, but similar to the Sideshow TIE Pilot, there's not much translucency through there at all. The biggest gripe for me on the figure, overall it's a really solid figure, but the biggest gripe is this damn hose. It's a very rigid material. So it's like a hard plastic rather than a flexible hose type material, which would have been much better, because as you can see, because it sort of curls around like that, and the instruction manual actually says that there's a wire in there that bends around, it tends to pull the head towards the right shoulder, and so it sort of gets this sort of kink look to him. You can try and adjust the head to the side, so it looks okay, but then you try and move it forward a little bit to at least not have him looking like he's got some weird sort of articulation in his head, and you try and move it around like that, and it just slowly sort of moves back there due to how rigid this is. And really the rotation in the head is also quite restricted. You can sort of move it, but it then does tend to move back. So That's probably the biggest disappointment for me, and probably one of two major complaints of mine. I guess the other complaint is the shoulder pads. The shoulder pads on the Snow Trooper and the Stormtrooper itself did not feel this rigid. These guys feel very stiff, and I'm actually really worried that if I articulate this thing, these things are just going to snap off. You can sort of move the arms out, and they do move, but then they start digging into the rest of the arms there. So you can articulate them up, but I really do wish, like I've said in some of my other reviews, that instead of using this weird sort of, it's almost like a vinyl or a softer plastic that's still fairly rigid, I really wish they would go with the sideshow approach and just use fabric, pretty much like what they've done on these straps, but either sew them on or glue them on. That to me would be a much more flexible and a better approach than having this really rigid shoulder pads. But other than that, the best thing on the figure for me is definitely the suit itself. The suit itself is, it's almost like a parachute type material, and it feels really nice, and it looks like they've got some sort of padding underneath that gives it that sort of ballooning parachute look to it, and it extends to the arms as well. And the tailoring and the stitching is really, really nice. There is a zip that goes all the way up underneath. And so this area here, if you just see, with some of these 1/6 scale zips, you just need to sort of futz around it to close up that zip area. But once you do that, it does look quite nice. I just had to use one of these things that I got from one of the previous Iron Man figures, I think, to just get it in there and just hook that around to close up that separating gap. But the detail on the chest there is really nicely done, and you know, it's a nice glossy black, so you can see my reflection in the armor there. On the back, I do like the First Order symbol there. The back is fairly straightforward and simple. All of these pouches that you see here, they're not leather or anything like that. They're just molded plastic. So it would have been nice if they went that extra mile and added that bit of detail with some sort of real fabric material there. But overall, it looks okay. I can't really see where it joins together, to be honest. It looks like one big vinyl piece, and the instructions do say don't try and take these straps off or take the armor off or anything like that. Essentially, if you mess around with this figure, you're going to break the bloody thing. So I would be very careful in trying to do anything fancy with the figure. Just a bit more detail on the suit here. Love how they've got the little sort of thigh patches that you know, a bit of padding in there. So it does look really, really nice with the strap. I don't even know why they have these straps, to be honest. What practical purpose they would have in a TIE fighter, I've got no idea. Because they're just sort of wrapped around the straps on the around the knees here, and I think they are straps. Yeah, so there are sort of straps that go around the knees there. Got no idea why they need that, but I guess straps like this are pretty much a norm for these Star Wars type pilots. The boots, they're just like a soft plastic material. They're not you know, sort of fake suede or leather or anything like that. In fact, I probably would have preferred if they had done this sort of material on the Han Solo figure, because it sort of prevents the fact that you've got this ridiculous bend near the ankle joint for the Han Solo figure. These ones, although they're a bit more rigid, they do look a lot better, in my opinion. The forearm here, it's got a nice sort of gauntlet there, and these hands, you can pretty much just pull out that joint like you do on all the other Hot Toys figures, and put in the swap out hands. Articulation, I'll just quickly show you. The legs are pretty good, so they can go out quite far, and there's pretty much a lot of give in the crotch area, so you're not going to run the risk of splitting too much there. And they do feel a lot more freer than the arms do. You've got double jointed knees there, and you do get a bit of rotation in the ankle area. For the arms, you do get double jointed elbows. Just need to futz around with the elbow there and just get a good range of motion there, and the hands. So the biggest issue for me is really the outward motion in the shoulder and just how tight that is. That is, once you get it in hand, you'll feel how firm that really is. And I'm paranoid enough as it is with my figures about breakage. So I'll probably pose this in a fairly static pose, particularly when the head, you can't even, just trying to move the head to look left feels like it's going to snap this thing off, because the connection point to the chest plate here is very rigid, and I guess it's essentially glued onto the mask here. So if you run the risk of breaking that off, I don't know if you're ever going to try and get it fixed to anything that looks like it should. So I'd be very careful in trying to move the head. Most blogger photos and so on that I've seen have pretty much had the head either facing straight on or looking slightly to the right. Trying to get it looking to the left here, to his left, is a bit of a task, to be honest. And I don't know if it's a matter of trying to bend the wire in this first, because if you try and just move the head, it really sort of puts a lot of pressure on this particular joint here. So I'd be extra careful with that. But that is pretty much it. The last thing I'll do is I'll grab the recent Sideshow Tie Pilot and give you guys a comparison with that. Hold on. Alright, so here are the two Tie Pilots side by side, and as you can see, the Sideshow Tie Pilot actually is taller. And this is probably one of the first times that the Sideshow figures are taller. People were complaining that the Tie Pilot was maybe a bit overscaled and that the helmet was too big. I actually think the helmet's pretty good, and in this particular case I would say that it's more the Hot Toys helmet is almost too small. The Hot Toys helmet, if you see it on its own like this, it looks okay in scale with the body, but if you try and imagine that with an actual human head in there, I don't quite understand how a human head would be able to fit in there properly unless the helmet is very, very thin with no sort of real protection at all. But the Sideshow helmet, for me, it actually looks like a helmet that can actually fit over a person's head. Overall, the suit, I'd probably think they're on par with each other. The newer First Order Tie Pilot suit, of course, has that sort of modern texture to it with that sort of parachute material. But I do really like the tailoring of the more of the canvas style, I don't know what material you would call that, canvas or khaki style suit on the original Tie Pilot. So overall, in terms of detail, tailoring, articulation and so on, both figures are pretty much on par with each other. I would actually say that the material that Sideshow used on the hoses here is my preferred material, because it doesn't articulate or constrain the articulation on the head there to the degree that this particular hard material and wire does on the Hot Toys version. So overall, just looking at both of them like this, I would actually have to say that I sort of lean towards preferring the original Sideshow Tie Pilot, although the newer one definitely does look pretty awesome, especially when displayed with the other new First Order troopers. But all in all, if you've got either figure, you'd be pretty happy with either one of them. So that's pretty much it. Hopefully you like that look at the Hot Toys First Order Tie Pilot. Hopefully you can click that subscribe button. I've got a few extra figures coming on the way. I've got the Asmus Aragorn from Lord of the Rings figure coming as well, and the Bandai Bruce Lee figure. So hopefully you can subscribe and stick around for that. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.